The wait is over. Pokemon Pocket has officially announced Generation 4 is coming, and it's shaping up to be a massive game changer. With powerhouses favorites like Lucario and Garchomp joining the fray, and the dynamic EX cards of Dialga and Palkia promising exciting new strategies, this is a bold move that brings fresh energy to the game. While some fans had their hearts set on Generation 2, trust me, I get it. Choosing Gen 4, however, opens up so much more for competitive play and for those nostalgic favorites that we're all hoping for. So let's go ahead and dive into why this decision is a win for the game's future. All right, y'all. It's Ben here. What up? What up? Yeah, and before we get into things, y'all, only about 6% of you who are watching are subscribed. So go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell button if you're enjoying the content, because we're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the month. All right, with that out of the way, let's get into it. So yeah, y'all, I mean, Gen 4 feels great, actually, to go into the next piece. And I think I've talked about this before, where I'm just kind of like, no, I'm definitely on the side of the boat where I was like, I definitely thought it was Gen 2. Got my ideas, my hopes, and kind of brain set around Gen 2, and then people started creeping up about maybe it's not, and lo and behold, it's not. And so now that we have Gen 4, how do we get excited about it? How do we know that this is going to be great? And I think one of the cool things, and then we're gonna talk about some other cool things, is that it's keeping us on our toes. Pokemon Pocket is you cannot figure us out until we tell you about that. And so I like that. I kind of like it being a surprise each and every time. I kind of like the randomness to it because, like I said, it keeps us a surprise. And then we get to see just kind of how they cook and how everything else can intertwine in things. And maybe we get more mechanics that are fan favorites that appeared later in the generations that will get earlier. Maybe we'll get Megas. Maybe we'll we'll get Dynamaxmons next set. Who knows now, because it's no longer in order. So we can get literally anything at any time, which is cool. But for Gen 4, let's talk about it. I think that with Gen 2, a lot of the things that were ooh, aside from my favorite Pokemons from Gen 2, but it was also kind of some of my favorite Gen 1 evolutions were from Gen 2 as well. And what's really cool about Gen 4 is that it continues to expand on that, right? So we have these guys over here, Magnezone, Licky, we have Rhyperior, Handgrowth, Electivire, Magmortar, Leafeon, Glaceon. These are powerhouses of Pokemon. I think, I'm looking forward to what Tangrowth will do for Tangela. I'm looking forward to what Rhyperior will do for Rhydon. I'm even excited about Magnezone, and I already know the buff, not the buff, but the looking at Magmortar and Electivire, already menacing designs, feels like the final boss mode, and they are now going to be introduced into Pokemon Pocket as well, and kind of breathe into life those Pokemon, especially because we're kind of hey, what are we doing here? And Electabuzz is in a couple of Pikachu decks. Magmar is not really touched. Who knows about Rhydon, Tangela, Licky, no one touches those, right? So being able to have these evolutions in the game gives a wide more spread to mons that were once not viable to maybe being viable with these new cards, and that's really exciting. And so if you couldn't tell already, Gen 1 is how I grew up with the game, so I'm excited that Gen 1 continues to get more love as we get these new sets, and I'm not ever going to complain about that. However, Gen 2 actually just straight up gets love with the release of Gen 4 as well. So it's kind of reaching into Gen 2's bag and saying, hey, here y'all go as well. So you have cards like Apom, Mismagius, Ambipom, Mismagius, Honchkrow. You have Togekiss, Yanmega, Gliscor, Mamoswine, and Porygon Z, which all of their evolutions are from Gen 2, with the exception of Togepi and Porygon, but their middle stages, in order for you to be able to get there, are from Gen 2, so you still get that love. It might not be a full set worth of love, but with 140 cards that are supposed to be coming in, that's been confirmed through Pokemon, there are Gen 2 focused mons that can also go into that number, which is really sweet. And we saw Honchkrow is in the game. We saw that in the trailer, and it kind of has like one of those moves where it can use 50 to attack, hopefully whatever Pokemon, and that's awesome. You get to hit a Pokemon in the dark, right? Like a little play on that, like that's really cool. And the ones that are in green are the Babymon. So there's kind of like this idea that Gen 2's final evolutions of them, so like your Mantike and your Bonsly, are now in the game for more Gen 2 love because your baby versions are in here. And I'm very interested to see what the babies do and if they're considered babies, right? So like Riolu is considered a basic mon because Lucario is a stage 1, or maybe Riolu is called a basic, and I think I don't know, but like we're gonna continue to find out. We're gonna find out together, and that's the exciting part about this. But Gen 2 does get love, and that is the best part here, right? And another reason why introducing Gen 4 like right after Gen 1 is that like there are just so many more legendaries. Okay, so like Gen 2, you have your legendary cats, okay, or beasts, not dogs, but you have those. You have Ho-Oh, you have Lugia, but like who else do you have, right? And you're probably gonna correct me in the comment section. I know it. I'm excited for it, but just straight up right here, you have 9 legendaries in Gen 4 in 5 mythical Pokemon. That's a lot. That's a lot to play with. And we've already seen Dialga and Palkia be EX-Mons. Dialga showing that much needed support for ramping in Steel, but also being able to be used for any Pokemon that needs like that extra colorless energy. You have Palkia, who's looking like a great wall that can attack and then also be a finisher when needed. And then we have the covers for Darkrai in the game as kind of like the binder things to like put your cards in. We haven't seen the cards yet, but like there's like inklings in there, and like who does not want to see an awesome Shaman Arceus flow in here? Cresselia is building up as the wall for psychic decks as well. You have your Lake Trio. Like there's just so much you can do with these legendaries. Now there's a lot of psychic ones, but you can play with it. And maybe Heatran, they give us Fire and Steel. Maybe this is the first time that they do something like that. So I like this. I like the fact that there's just so many more legendaries, so many more mythicals, and like these ones I would think have like some full arts in there as well. So I want to imagine kind of like what those card arts look like as well too. So having this come next adds more to that like big boss bad guy final level kind of feel that we now will have across many decks because we have so many more of those to choose from. Here's some love to the typings that we weren't sure we were going to get. So when we think about this, right, let me just back this up a little bit. We were looking for more dragon typings, we were looking for more steel typings, and we were looking for more dark typings. So with dark in here, we have Honchkrow, we have Draporeon, and we obviously have Darkrai, which could be like this big finisher as well. And we also know that Honchkrow will be a basic mon, maybe an EX mon, but like with like 5 EXs typically per pack, I wouldn't put it past them to give it to some like to use it for obviously Darkrai. Then you have your steel typings. Bastiodon can do that, even though it's, I say, rock and steel type, but I've seen a lot more steel types for this card in the regular CCG. Hope that Pokemon Pocket follows that. Obviously Dialga is providing such great steel support. Bronzong can go either way in terms of steel, and same thing with Heatran. Then you have your dragons with Garchomp, who like we see that is a dragon through the Gibble from the trailer. And then Giratina can go either psychic because of this ghost typing, or can go dragon. And a lot of the TCG cards have it going dragon as well. So there's some love that way. So like it's the card pool that Gen 4 is providing here is giving us more options for those typings. We saw that fighting got like uplifted through Mythical Island and being able to have like Marshadow, and people are really loving Hitmonlee in that package. And now they're going, and oh, don't forget the Aerodactyl EX, and now they're getting Riolu, which is crazy. Or Lucario is like going into this fighting. Hopefully Steel, and then we can get a Steel version of the card. There's a lot of dual typings in here. And I hope that like they'll play with that maybe in the promo cards, that we get like a secondary typing. We haven't seen that yet, but like Lucario could be steel, Magnezone could be steel, and Empoleon could be steel, but we know their bases are going to be water, fighting, and electric. But like maybe we'll get that kind of version of them in like the promo side of things. But to continue from there, there's just like mons here Lucario is adding more fighting support, and now we're getting these cards that could add more to Steel, to Dark, to Dragon, and these are energies that people really want to build their decks around. So that's really cool that we're going to be getting more mons that can do that, and not just like weaker mons, but mons that really do something here. And like these already have a feel that they will. Dialga has shown that it will. Honchkrow being able to be the Luminion for dark typing is going to be awesome. And Garchomp is getting plus 50 damage through Cynthia. So there's love, and I'm excited for that. And speaking of love and speaking of support, like there are multiple trainers that have different typings for their gyms inside this game, which is like really awesome. We already got the champion for Cynthia, which is giving us plus 50 to their damage for Togekiss or for Garchomp, which is awesome. And then that kind of means if this is the champion, why wouldn't we be able to get an Elite Four member, right? And like obviously, why wouldn't we be able to get some gym leaders in here? And just to like point out some of the gym leaders that could be really, really cool to add in here is like Byron. Why? He's a steel type Pokemon. So like Bastiodon can get some needed support, or steel in general. We also have Fantina, who has a Gengar on the team, and Gengar EX is Gengar is just such a good mon, but it really does need something else to make it viable. The ability to not use trainers is great, but three energies for just 100 attack is really hard to really make work a lot of the times. So maybe Fantina can do something for Gengar specifically, because that's in here. And I know Miss Magus is their ace, but like maybe Gengar can get love in similar ways that Cynthia applies to 2 Pokemon. And fighting doesn't really need it because of the way that Lucario goes, but Maylene also just adding more to the fighting types, because Brock was supporting more of the rock types, and so like Maylene supporting the fighting type sides of that could be something that's very interesting. So in similar vein, if like our Bertha here will add more to the ground types of the game for the Pokemon typing, rather than just, you know, Golem and Onix. So Generation 4 is really set to bring in some serious excitement around the game. I'm excited for all of the possibilities of combinations, of trainers, of Pokemon tools that we may be getting, or not maybe getting, like we are getting, that's addition to this. So let me know in the comments, what do you think? Did Pokemon Pocket make the right call by jumping up to Gen 4, or do you still feel like Gen 2 could have been the next one and still been great? All right, y'all, we'll catch you on the next one. Until then, hit that like, subscribe, and click that notification bell button so that way you don't miss out on anything, and take it easy. Peace.